Kia ora, and welcome to the Beer Jerk Beer Club Drink Along. I'm Luke, and this week we're drinking a red IPA from Cassels. You've probably had a beer from Cassels before. You've probably had their world famous Milk Stout, which each year garners lots of awards, including awards in things like the World Beer Cup, because it is an excellent beer. That's really cool to see a brewery that's really made that style their own. When you think of milk stout here in New Zealand, you do think of Cassels. And that is quite a recent thing that milk stouts became a thing that people would drink who weren't old ladies on Coronation Street. Really great sort of zeitgeist to capture. But anyway, we're not talking about milk stout. We are talking about their red IPA this week, which is one of their seasonal beers. And Cassels are a relatively big brewery in Christchurch, and they sadly don't do that many seasonals. It's quite a big operation, and a lot of work goes into releasing a seasonal beer. And when you're selling huge numbers of your core range, it kind of doesn't really make sense to spend so much time on artwork and new packaging and new recipe development and brewing a large volume of a one-off beer that isn't going to be ranged everywhere. So cool to see that they are still sporadically pumping out some of these interesting seasonal beers. They do have a smaller brew kit, so at their brewery, it's at the Tannery in Christchurch, which is quite an iconic building and shopping centre that was also created and owned by Alistair Cassell, who was the founder of Cassels, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago. It's still very much a family business, headed up by Zach Cassels these days. And in the Tannery, so their big breweries sort of at the back, and they have their brewery tap room, which is a really lovely sort of wooden, old-fashioned looking place. And you can see behind the bar they've got their brew kit and the tanks and things there. But I don't believe that really gets used these days. I think it is like there seems to be sadly quite a lot of ornamental brew kits around the country these days. You often will see at places like Little Creatures in Hobsonville in Auckland, which is owned by Lion, of course. They have a beautiful brewery there, but nothing's been brewed there for years because it's all brewed at the Pride. And just other different places where you see they've outgrown the breweries. I think there's a couple in Auckland as well in town. There's the Dr. Rudy's. I'm not sure if they brew there. Anyway, so sadly their little kit doesn't really get much use these days. So this was brewed on their big kit out back. And it is a red IPA, which is a really fantastic style. And it's got something for everyone. It's got the malty side and the hop forward side. So generally in New Zealand, when we are lucky enough to get red IPAs to drink, they generally are more using New Zealand aromatic hops, American hops, things like Amarillo, really leaning into the citrus, the orangey character, which is kind of the obvious thing. But in the olden days, red IPAs would have been taken from the UK IPA mold. So a lot more subtle, a lot more herbal character, and I feel like this definitely is more in the English style, despite it being 6.6%. Which is way higher than a traditional English red IPA real ale type beer would be. So you've got your malt base, which has got sort of lots of speciality malts, currant in there, and giving it a lovely red hue. And I looked it up; it's got a Vienna malt in there, which is always a beautiful malt to use in place of something like Pilsner or like ale malt that gives the beer a bit of perceived sweetness, some nice character. I know it's a favourite of my friend Matt's to put into recipes. Vienna malt, obviously Vienna lager is a brilliant style. There's also some of the like toffee, crystal type speciality malts in there that make for a bit of a sticky pudding vibe to the base. But then the hops, you've got East Kent Goldings in here, which is just a pretty iconic hop from East Kent, and really has that herbal character, floral, but not too over the top. It's got a solid bitterness. And there's also New Zealand Fuggles, which are Fuggles, one of my favourite hops, absolutely. And the New Zealand take is very similar, but with the terroir here, it's also quite markedly different. So Fuggles is known for, if you've drank English real ales and you thought it tastes a bit like a hedgerow, just that sort of petrichor dampness to it, herbal character, blackberries, all that sort of thing. So that's what you get from the Fuggles in here. And the New Zealand version of Fuggles is, I suppose, a bit brighter, bit more clarity, cleanness to it. And it also it's got Motueka, which is yet another one of my favourite hops, possibly my favourite New Zealand hop. So Motueka is giving you the zest in there, the lime character. So yeah, really nicely put together beer, nicely built malt profile and hop character to it. Those sort of layers, everything is doing something, everything's got its place. Yeah, it's definitely not an American West Coast hop bomb sort of thing. If you're expecting to go into this and it to be like red IPAs that you might have had from, I suppose, breweries like Epic or Deep Creek or even Garage Project, that have all been delicious in a different way. This is more, yeah, more balanced, more subtle. I'll make it sound boring, like it's subdued, and it's really not. It's, yeah, it's a really lovely, sort of cooler evening beer. It's, I like these red IPAs. They're perfectly suited to autumnal evenings, slightly cooler weather, and obviously go fantastically with food. So I'd want to drink this with a shepherd's pie. Obviously I don't eat meat, so it's going to be a lentil and mushroom shepherd's pie. But yeah, great job. Cassels do a really good job with a lot of these classic styles. So I think people are going to really enjoy this. And I should say solid bitterness as well. It's just that bitterness that keeps you coming back for more. Good, yeah, great all-round beer. In other news, we've got a lot happening here at the Small Gods Tap Room at the moment. Our quiz is still going every Thursday night. We're doing a bit of a Halloween-themed quiz this week. So Lucia's helping out with some of those rounds. And on Saturday is going to be the Auckland Zombie Mile. So all of the breweries and tap rooms along the Auckland Beer Mile are going to be overrun by zombies. So if you fancy getting your friends together and getting made up for the day to do a bit of a brewery crawl in Halloween fancy dress, that's going to be a lot of fun. And if you don't fancy dressing up, also probably a good day to come out and hit the beer mile, because it's going to be hilarious. See all the zombies, and there are going to be spot prizes, there'll be food and drink specials, DJs and things. It's going to be a really fun day. And next week, it's a public holiday on Monday, it's Labour Day, so you'll get to have a long weekend. So you might just have a chance to put in an order online to get that delivered by in time for the weekend. And so that means our run club on Monday is going to be Tuesdayized. So we are closed on Mondays. And on Tuesday we've got Beer Jack Run Club as usual. And also this week afterwards at 7 o'clock we've got a really awesome talk from our friend Inia, who is an ultra marathon runner who is currently, I think he's 5/8 of the way towards running an ultra marathon on all 8 continents in the year of 2024. So he's just back from America, and he's going to be joining us from 7 o'clock for an event where we're going to be finding out all about how he is doing on this incredible feat. So yeah, if you're into interesting stories, if you're into ultra marathons, maybe pop along and join us. And I will see you next time. Good work, Cassels. Cheers.